Packers beat the Buccaneers 14-12 in Tampa. Not necessarily digging into the nitty gritty of this game. We can if you want to. I think the most interesting parts of this were the Packers offense struggling against the Bucs defense, because Packers offense is close to full strength at this point. Receivers are dinged up. Sammy Watkins is out, but we still expect them to operate when Sammy Watkins is out. David Bakhtiari is rotating in at left tackle now. They're getting closer and closer, and they really struggle to move the ball, especially down the second half. But my biggest takeaway from this is, do we have a power vacuum in the NFC right now outside of Philadelphia? If you were trying to stack up the best teams in the NFC, who do you feel good about right now after this game and after everything we've seen over the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, even like it's hard to even talk myself into the Rams, because it's not like the Rams they're not like doing anything real sexy outside Skarsgård playing fullback. Like, but no, seriously, like it's the Rams feel like the 2020 version of the Rams, as opposed to last year's team that was just freaking shredding people. It's more like, oh man, we're 4 to 5 yard chunks at a time on offense, and our defense is, hey, Ramsey played fantastic today, but Ramsey and Aaron Donald go make some plays, and we'll win a lot of ugly games. And they don't feel kind of like that how they did last year, where they're really taking it to teams. But even I agree with you. I guess I keep saying the Bucs when they get healthy, but they have to get healthy. No, I mean, this defense is great, but I mean, you could just see it in this offense. This was the lowest air yards per attempt for Brady since he became a Buc, was this game, and it was Rodgers' 5th lowest of his career. Like this game was a check down fest. Like, it was just underneath
quarters. Rodgers was at 3.07 air yards per attempt through 3 quarters. That one shot he took on the slot fade to Lazard lifts his average by like 3/4 of a yard. Through 3 quarters, 3.07. So that brings me to my question about this Packers team. Are we concerned about this model of offense, not over the long term, but like right now? They're not going to play the Bucs every single week.
Right.
But they had the lowest rushing success rate in the league this week, 20.8%, and 3.07 air yards per attempt through 3 games. Your margin for error is so small when you play small ball like this. I'm worried about it. I know they don't play the Bucs every single week, but if we're talking about ceiling outcomes with this team and where they fit among the best teams in the NFC, among the best teams in the league, there's cause for concern there in my mind.
It feels like a team that has Allen Lazard as their best receiver. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he encapsulates this team. Nice and fine. He's solid. He's efficient. No juice, and it's more just crafty and efficient. Like, that's what the team wants to live by. It's the old guy at the YMCA. Like, but that's it. It feels like an old San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan offense at the end of his career, where they weren't shooting threes. It was a super efficient, like, kind of offense, like, but it wasn't very explosive. And that's how the Packers kind of feel. And it seems like I always want to say Dobbs, but Dobbs and Lazard, they are the top 2, it seems like, and he had a nice game.
It's just Dobbs. It's just Dobbs. Yes.
God dang it. I'm never going to get it right, because I tell myself it's not that, and I'm never going to get it right. So don't worry. I'll get it by week 12. One day. But honestly, all the Packers.
You versus names is the greatest rivalry on this show.
I got one later too. I think it's even a guy I like, and I don't think I can even say his name right. But the Packers' best plays are
Madubuike.
You knew who I was talking about.
I got you. I'm giving it to you right now, so you can hit it later.
I was with my sister.
I am Mike McDaniel and you're Tua in this situation. I am putting you in a position to succeed.
Point me in the right direction. I'll get it out in 2 seconds. Yeah, that's all it takes me to get these names right. But no, the Packers, though, it's their best plays are double moves off of like RPOs. Like, it's fake flat routes, and like that's their best play right now. And when that's your best offensive play to get an explosive, that means everything's going to feel really, really tight. And that's how this offense feels for the Packers right now. And their defense is nice. I think they're coming along, but it still has weaknesses against the run. I don't think the Bucs were able to take advantage of it. That's a tough slog game. Like, a lot of slog-filled games are probably going to come if this is the way they're going to attack defenses and how they're going to play defense.
You could still win this way if your defense plays well enough. I don't know if their defense is that good for them to consistently win this way. And it's also just hard to win a lot of games 17-14 or 24-17. That close games lead to more losses. This isn't some radical idea.
I was kidding about this team.
You're not going to win 12 games.
This summer, I was kidding about this team. Like we did a couple shows. I'm like, I think they're really trying to win every game 20-17. I was kidding. I didn't actually mean that. Like that was their actual strategy, but it looks like that's what they're doing. Like, and yeah, it's tough. It's really tough because one bounce goes the wrong way for you, or the other team actually lines up in the right position. And Tom Brady, the Hall of Famer, isn't trying to kill a play with 2 seconds left on the play clock. Like that, those brinks are going to happen to you if you play all these close games.
I do think it's going to look okay against teams that aren't the Buccaneers, because when you watch the first half of that game, this is truly just putting the game in Aaron Rodgers' hands. It's just a lot of RPOs. It's a lot of downfield RPOs, which is really just being like, all right, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, who is more situational awareness than anyone who's ever played this game, arguably. You have to make the right decision every single time we need an explosive play. No one else is going to have a role here except for you and the design of the play. And there's a lot to like about the quarterback and the designs of these plays with who's running the offense, but it's still, you're fitting this through a keyhole, and that becomes really hard over long stretches of time.
It's nice when the play's not perfect, the throw's not perfect, and a guy makes a play for you. We talk about receivers or quarterbacks getting a bucket. Receivers getting a bucket is also really, really nice.
Watch the Eagles game today.
Oh my God. I was going to say, just ask Jalen Hurts how nice it is. Just throw it up in a general area and a guy just reaches over a defender. Like that's what a Devontae Adams in your offense should do, is that they increase that margin from error from 2% to 12% or more if they're really, really like a stud.
You're making a fascinating point, though, because this is the gap between some of these teams now. You have the Packers, who had to trade away their top 5 receiver, one of the best playmakers in the league. And you have these two teams in Philly and Miami who went out to get these guys, who made big, monstrous swings for these guys. And look at what it can do for them in some of these moments. You're seeing the two styles you can play with based on what your receiving personnel looks like. And I think that those differences are really noticeable right now between those two sets of teams.
Yeah. God, how about the Packers though? Rotating left tackles. That was, it was interesting. I haven't seen that during a game. I've seen first half, second half. I haven't seen the split series kind of thing that we were seeing in this game. That was an interesting one.
It would annoy me and concern me if it were pretty much any other team in the league.
Right. It's the Packers mouthwash. Yeah.
It's because he's played so much.
Oh yeah.
It's because the Nyman and Runyon plays left guard for them. Because Nyman and Runyon have played together so often, I'm not concerned about really messing with chemistry because there's a familiarity with all of those pieces. It's not as concerning or not as much of a wrench as it might be for some of these other teams. Maybe I'm rationalizing that, but I think that they can get away with it more than another team would.
They can. Like you said, he's a freaking former All-Pro, so hopefully and it's the same communication he's had the last couple of years as far as verbiage. So I think it's okay, but it's unique. It was a unique situation today.